Well, welcome to that podcast.
Oh, hey, I got
So-
my priority list for next year going.
oh, nice,
I got writer's block right now. I'm trying to figure out where to start.
nice.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys
at least I already watched the JD debate, on the way here. So
Oh,
JD
how'd that
Vance
go
debate.
for you?
I knew what the guy was going to say because I've watched him before.
Right.
At least it looks like he outclassed Tampon Tim.
I would say I agree with that.
Yeah. Anyways, so much about politics. Let's talk motorcycles.
Yeah, let's talk about motorcycles. I'm sorry I wasn't able to make it. I was busy wrapping that up for last week. Hence the crazy sunburn.
Yeah. You're riding from one donut stop to the other. Get some energy.
Cinnamon roll, actually. Come on now.
One cinnamon roll place to the other.
Oh yeah.
How many calories did you burn on that trip?
A lot. Like I couldn't.
How many calories did you eat?
I was burning like 2,500, 3,000 calories a day, and I was consuming a lot of calories, and I still couldn't shake hunger. Like I was hungry the whole time, man. Every morning, I'd have this great big, huge breakfast every day, and 10 miles into the ride, my stomach is growling every day. So it's pretty crazy.
Lose any weight?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I had a cycling jacket that I've never worn because I was a little too muscular in the midsection to fit it.
Yeah.
Right? That's what the leather guy used to say. Oh, you're a little Texas medium, huh? But midweek, I was able to put that thing on. I wore it the last 2 days. We wore jackets the whole time, man. There was only like maybe 1.5 days where there was no jacket. It was freezing cold.
It was nice to get away from all the heat.
Yes.
Because after we did podium club in the middle of summer, which was torture.
In Texas.
My blister on my knuckle was just going away. And then go to Texas to get more of the same. So it was nice to go to New Jersey. And, New Jersey is a really strange state. Really strange. They don't let you pump your own gas.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I don't know, is that the only state that doesn't let you pump your own gas?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I have to look that up. But also, Robbie lost his shit at dinner one night because they charged him. Robbie normally drinks like a mixed drink or some whiskey or some crap like that, chill at the end of the day.
Right.
So they charged him for not putting ice into his drink.
Okay, that's weird.
So if you don't put ice in your drink, at some restaurants you get a no ice charge.
A no ice charge.
What the heck is that?
Huh.
Isn't that weird? I mean, I could see if it's like a Coke or something, and you're like, you have no ice, so it spills up the Coke more.
Yeah.
But no ice? It's really weird. Those people are weird over there. Mark Rosema's there, so we know it's weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's Jersey, right? Like, there's always.
I mean,
I was shocked by the gas thing too the first time there.
If you leave ice in the kitchen, you get charged for it. So if he got like a whiskey neat, and a single was like $2 and a double was $4 ice charge. So you get $6 worth of ice charges on your meal for not taking ice.
I don't know what kind of math that is, but
it's New Jersey math. We had that years ago at a Bennigan's over there next to the hotel, and we were all like, "What the heck? What is that all about?" And then it happened again. It's really weird. I never noticed it at the other restaurants. It's kind of strange.
That sounds strange.
Yeah, and of course all the weird conditions with the weather, which the mixed conditions don't bother us. I thought we're on a good pace with the mixed conditions. Cameron didn't really get a lucky break with Q2, but he was up in the top 2 or 3 in the first one regularly. First, second, third, something like that, and then was held up a bunch of times. I couldn't get a clean lap in Q2 and ended up 5th, I think. And so, you know, and then the next day was wetter. So he didn't go any, it was more wet. And so he didn't get a chance to really put anything better than 5th and 6th, but it didn't matter. Our bikes were really good at drag racing, at least.
Yeah.
They could take your P1, don't they?
It's like this season. It's like this season was, you know, after winning 4 championships in a row, this season was, it was like a tough pill to swallow, right? I mean, it was like, geez.
It started off okay, you know. Just we've been dealing with injuries and medical conditions. Seems like the whole season. You know, Cameron started off with his hand coming off surgery, and Jake's hand was deteriorating. You know, he won the first one or second race. I don't remember which one. And then after that, it was kind of downhill for him.
Yeah.
You know, he got some podiums. I think he had 1 win, and let me see, I got some notes here. He had
Okay.
1 win and 5 podiums.
Yeah.
He scored a bunch of points. Even at Mid-Ohio, we decided to pull the plug on him. You know, of course, he made that decision, but we kind of encouraged him. And then he missed out. He had 5 DNSs in the last two rounds, right? So he's still second in the championship for that. You know, Cameron had 3 wins and 8 podiums, but he had 6 DNFs or DNSs.
Yeah.
You know, 2 of them were mechanicals, really odd ones, and the other 4 were, one, he wasn't medically fit to ride, and then a couple of crashes mid-race in the race, and you know, so those kinds of things have just kept going on with him, and so it took him out of the top 3 in points. So I thought we had a good run with him. You know, I think he was going better and better up until Laguna, and then we started going all the tracks with the hard tires. And like I said, we're gonna have a really strong reassessment of our chassis with a new bike, because in 2025 we'll have a new bike and a completely new motorcycle front to back.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So then we'll be able to just take another look at the whole balance of the bike and come up with something stronger. We'll test a lot with hard tires, but I don't think that next year we had 5 tracks that required R7 or R8 tire, and I think that at least probably 4 of those tracks will lose some of their grip. And like Mid-Ohio will lose some of its grip. They have a lot of cars race there.
Okay.
So I think it'll polish up and it'll go to R5s or R3s is my guess. You know, they did allow R5s there, but they were getting chewed up too quick. And so then they went to the R8 because nothing was holding up. So I do believe that Mid-Ohio will go soft. What else? We got Laguna. That track was falling apart. You know, even this last go around, patchwork and all that. So I think it'll go softer.
Road America?
Yeah, Road America probably won't. I think Road America will probably be an R7 style track. It may go to R5s, but it depends on what Dunlop brings and how much time they have on it. It might be. I mean, I heard Dunlop might have an R4. You know, that they might be trying already, and so if that's the case, we might be on softer tires there. So I think that the 5 tires the 5 tracks where we used hard tires, I think those will kind of go away. So our issue with hard tires will probably get wiped out pretty quick. But even so, we will work pretty hard to find a setup for it, because our bike's always been good in the handling part, and we've given that up this year with the hard tires, and so we'll work pretty hard to pick that back up.
Right on.
Yeah. So it's amazing. This whole season's been kind of a mishmash of winners, right?
Yeah. I mean,
we had 4, 5, 6, 7 winners.
Yeah, we had that many winners, but we also had 4 championship leaders at one point?
Probably, because Heron led at the end, right?
Yeah,
Bobby
Heron,
led,
Cam,
Jake led,
Bobby,
Jake led, Cam led. You know, so it depends on how long, but you know, so Heron won 6, Cam Bobier won 6, Bobby Fong won 2, DK won 1. Baz won 1, which is really surprising to me. I thought he'd win a lot more than just 1.
Yeah.
It took him the whole season to win 1. It's really strange.
Yeah,
he's kind of switched.
I think we predicted at the beginning of the season that he'd be dangerous, and you know, if he was going to get one, it would come at Road America. We thought, right? Because he was all pumped. He was super pumped for coming back to race Road America.
Yeah. So Cam Peterson, just to finish up, Cam Peterson won 3 and Jake won 1. So, but then you look at the podium count, right? So, obviously, usually the guy with the most podiums gets the championship. So Herrin had 13 podiums, only 1 DNF. Beaubier had 11 podiums and 6 DNFs.
Right.
If you imagine, even though if he didn't have the ankle problem, I think he would have won the championship with the 6 wins. He would have had more podiums. And the thing is, with you say, okay, woulda, coulda, shoulda. When someone doesn't DNF, there was a lot of DNFs this year.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I'll go down the DNFs. So Cameron had 6, Beaubier. Bobby had 3.
Right.
SDK had 4. Baz had 2. Peterson had 6, and Jake didn't show up to 5 of them, so he had 5. So that's a pretty good mix. I mean, if MotoAmerica was wanting a more competitive championship, I don't know what else we could do.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple BMW winners, multiple Ducati winners, multiple Yamaha winners. I mean, you can't really. I don't remember another season like that.
Yamaha still won the manufacturers championship, and so that was good, even though we didn't do as good a part on our part as we probably should have.
Yeah.
But we had a lot of strange stuff between the riders and these hard tire issues that we've been having.
Yeah.
I think we'll get past the hard tires. Next year we'll get wings, and that'll put another. Yeah, we had the option of running the wings in New Jersey and bringing in the 2025 bike, but it was going to be just one more variable we had to toss in there.
Right on.
I saw the World Tour bikes are kind of struggling a little bit. So I don't know if it's because they put the wings on and now they have to recalibrate the whole chassis, because it does supposed to apply some downforce. We don't know yet. We have to put it on and see if that's what it'll do, if it applies some downforce. I know that from talking to test riders, like Chavi tested the BMW when they went through all the iterations of wings. He said it was just a gigantic difference from, I can't remember how many different types of wings that he said that they tested on that BMW, but he said it was just a gigantic difference from one wing to the other and how the bike felt.
Right.
So it'll be interesting for us in winter testing to come up with that. But like I was saying, when let's say a Cam Beaubier gets 6 DNFs, right, or DNSs, if he would have showed up to a couple of them, what that does is if he takes one more win or another podium, it might displace a guy like Herrin. You follow what I'm saying?
Dude, so Herrin did ride good this season, though. I mean,
at the end he came on.
I mean, we talked about it at the beginning of the year, right? Like, I mean, that dude traditionally, if you look at the history books, every time that dude has had a teammate, like, he's always struggled. But maybe it's I don't know. Maybe he has to have a teammate that's faster than him every weekend to have him struggle. But
I don't know. He had a good dynamic
this season.
Yeah, he had a good dynamic with Baz, and so I think that helped.
Yeah,
and those guys worked good together. And Ducati hadn't won one since I can't remember
30 years ago.
I think it was the 888 or something like that. 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yamaha's won 13 out of the last 15 championships.
Right.
So the odds kind of start stacking up against you that something is gonna happen. So so I think this was our year to take it, to have a difficult year, and we'll come back strong again next year. But like I was saying, it's the way the championships work. The guys that are most consistent normally win the championship, and he was super consistent.
Yeah.
He had only 1 DNF. So if any of those other guys, like for instance, Cam had 6. He fell down a barber, and Herrin was back. So if he didn't fall down a barber, he would have picked up at least the 20 points for being in second.
Right.
And that would have pushed him up, pushed Herrin back some points. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and the same thing at Laguna.
But that's racing, right? I mean, it's
that is racing, and it just until you start looking at all the stats, you go, man, there was a lot of DNFs this year.
Yeah.
And a lot of different winners, or DNSs. Because Jake, like in the previous years, he hadn't had. I can't remember. He had one fall of Brainerd, a big one in the beginning of a race, and he was who was chasing Petrucci.
Right.
He had that one he gave up, and then he had one at the beginning of the year at Atlanta, a pretty big one. But for the most part, he hadn't fallen down. He'll clinch a championship 1 or 2 races early, right? But this one went down the last race, and we kind of knew what was going to happen. As long as Herring kept his nose clean, he was going to do good. And he went out and did the business, and he's deserving the championship.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now I did find it a little odd that the first words out of that dude's mouth, when they stick a microphone in his face, say this goes out to that podcast. So yeah, this is that podcast.
We don't know that.
I mean, I'd imagine it is because we're the ones that
I've called him an idiot in the last couple of years. So
yeah.
But
I mean, you could win a championship, still be an idiot, right?
Yeah, he's all right.
But yeah, I mean, he's.
I worked with him before. I like to think that helped re-energize his career when he was on the mean team. Got him a championship in super stock. So I mean, he could have struggled on that team 100%, but
yeah,
helped him out a little bit, and then helped him out in 18 when we finished third in the championship back then.
Right.
On our bike, and could have finished second. We had some big crashes. So it's all good. I think he did a good job, and move on, go forward, and he'll be probably pretty consistent and fast next year, and we'll just have to be faster.
I mean, that's what racing's supposed to be, right? Like, it's not supposed to be easy. So
no, not at all.
And for years and years, Yoshimura went through it too, right? Like, they went through and won a bunch of races, Suzuki, and then they started getting beat by Yamaha, and
yeah, they had they had a lot of years no championships. They had one with Elias the whole time,
right?
So they missed out, like I said, 13 out of 15 championships,
right?
So that's a lot for the R1.
Yeah,
that tells you how good that motorcycle is. So it's taken Yoshimura once and Ducati once, and we're going to try real hard to not let that happen again, without a doubt.
Well, I know you guys never
a little writer's block, but I'm going to put together a priority list where to start.
You're going to start drawing out the roadmap to coming back to winning, the roadmap to the next championship.
Yeah. We'll push hard, but I think it's. I mean, the BMW's right there. They're coming out with a new bike. It'll probably be faster. I'm sure it'll be faster, and depending on who's riding it right now. I mean, there's a number of riders without contracts. So
yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, Cam Bobia has no contract. Cam Peterson has no contract. Let's see here. Beach has no contract. SDK, as far as I know, hasn't signed anything yet with Top Row. Matt Skoltz has no contract. He just finished winning that Supersport championship, which I'm glad to say that we had a decent part in that. We supplied him with the engines. Those guys were pretty happy with those engines, and he's able to be competitive. Who else?
Is Baz?
I don't know what the deal is with those guys. I imagine he's going to stay with that pair. I think we'll stay with that team. I don't think they're going to get rid of Baz. I mean, maybe he's just getting on a roll now, So I think he'll probably stay. There's Bobby Fong has no contract. So a number of guys that are Superbike capable are not in there.
Right. Dude, Bobby looked quick over the weekend too. He did a good job this year. I mean, I wanted to mention that. Like I said, he was another guy that Bobby had 2 wins, 8 podiums, and 3 DNFs. So, but he kept steadily up near the front. If he wasn't on the podium, he was like a 5th or 4th or something like that. So he was able to secure a 3rd in the championship. So the championship went Herring, Bobier, Fong, SDK, Baz, Peterson, Gagne. So that's the top, whatever that is, 7 places. Yeah.
All winners.
Tough class, man.
Yeah, Beach had a couple of podiums, but he didn't win anything, so I didn't include him in this list.
Do you think that we'll see a Honda Superbike on the grid next year?
Not a real one. I don't think. I think Honda's still not going to do a real effort. I wish they would, because those bikes are really fast. And we'll keep working hard to make our engine a bit faster. We've always relied on the chassis to make up for any speed deficit, and so we haven't put a lot of effort into the engine, I would say. I mean, it's a fast engine. We did we did bring out another version of the engine that Cameron had, and he said it felt strong, a little bit better. His speed was good. I think he went 173, and the Ducati was going like 174. I think Bobier might have gone 175 or 6. So it's pretty close, within a mile an hour. But that's a small track. Yeah, the real test when you get to Road America and Coda.
Right.
Yeah, Coda's another track. I think they'll go a little bit softer on the tire too, because that track it just got repaved. So who knows if they're going to keep that same pavement all the way through next year. It seems like that track's getting repaved all the time.
Coda?
Yeah, so Coda, yeah.
That
track, I think we could use an R5 there, but they didn't bring it.
Didn't you say that, or was it you that said that? Like, Coda is one of those tracks that the ground underneath kind of shifts, and it, it's constantly, they're constantly having to like repair the pavement.
Yeah. Between the heat and that ground is not very stable, and it's like it's built on a swamp, It is that way. But they build. I can't believe how much stuff they're building over there. The roller coasters, and they have concerts there all the time. That place is rocking. Yeah. So Brainerd's out. So that's one track that.
You excited about that?
It doesn't matter. It's just a racetrack to me.
Right.
Just, terrible facilities, but it's okay. Yeah. And then the VIR is back. So that place has always been a pretty good track for us. But we'll see. We'll see how the Ducatis and BMW gets around there.
When was the last time you guys raced at VIR?
Was it not last year? No, year before. Year before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to go back and look at my notes.
Yeah, because for whatever reason, I think what happened was last year, like a drift car event or something got scheduled on the VIR weekend or something.
Yeah, the guy. Yeah. See, I don't know. There's always something with VIR 2022, and I'm looking at our data here. So I think that's last time. Yeah. So who knows? I mean, I don't know what kind of struggles MotoAmerica has sometimes with the various tracks. They don't cooperate, don't give them the right dates, and then it's like they're out.
Yeah. Scheduling events and so far in advance is not easy,
Yeah.
To do it on a national scale, it's even probably more not easy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, so you had the trouble with the hard tires. You talked about that. Okay. So then
that was race 1. Yeah. So between race 1 and race 2, we made a pretty significant step, and then we made another step after warm up, and we thought we were on a pretty good place, and both guys got off good, and then the Ducatis got by, and Cameron was right there with the Ducatis, and they were starting to gap the guys behind him.
Yeah.
And then he said that the lever came back to his knuckle going into turn 1. And and then he pulled off and pulled in, said the lever came back to his knuckle, which shocked me a little bit.
Yeah.
The way he was acting on the motorcycle, I thought something blew up.
Yeah.
But, and then we looked at the data. I mean, we just looked at the brakes real quick, looked at the brake lines, no leaks, no nothing. Said, felt hard as a rock, the lever did. And so he went back out and started doing the same pace as the leaders were doing in 21st. So really confusing to me, and never had to.
Dude, he was going good too.
Yeah, I mean, he almost ran in the back of Heron a couple of times because the bike was working good. It was going to change direction, looked good. Speed was pretty good, so we thought we'd have a pretty good race for the final round there, but not meant to be. It's like the rest of the season.
Like the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Not quite a country song though, right? We're not calling it a country song.
No dying dog, and we're not hopping on a train and driving somewhere or wherever.
Oh man.
And my wife hasn't left me yet that I know of.
That you know of. Jeez.
Yeah.
So what's this? Yamaha has been teasing something for October 9th. Any insight there?
No.
New thing?
Well, of course I know. Am I going to tell you? No. Yeah. I mean, you can try to read between the lines on what could possibly be on October 9th.
Yeah, October 9th. Yeah.
Yeah.
October 9th. Get it?
Yes. I have no idea what
Maybe.
you're talking about.
Yeah. So they've been having the commercials and stuff for that. So it's just kind of like,
Yeah, they're prepping people.
they're what?
Should have been September. September 9th.
Well,
And they
sorry.
could have released it at 9 o'clock.
Yeah. 999. Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, but you can't confirm or deny or whatever.
Yeah.
Or something.
I can just tell you that there's going to be an announcement as far as teams go and things like that. Yeah, but that's well above my pay grade.
Okay.
I just know enough to make me try not to get fired.
So you talked about all those riders without contracts. What do you think?
Rocco's another one that's floating around.
What do you think about guys like Ben Smith? I mean, that dude's been put some work in.
There's another guy that's. So as far as the best advice I would have to Ben Smith is go win a Superstock championship and dominate.
Okay.
I don't know. I hear Freddie's gonna have from SBU. Freddie's gonna have a team. He's trying to put a team together. He's got that R1 that they did the round with Ben Smith, and so maybe Ben Smith will ride it. Maybe somebody else will ride it. I don't know. There's a handful of riders that are available, and there's some handful of seats that are open. So we'll see how the musical chairs go. So we'll see who gets snatched up when and where.
Yeah. Is there anybody that coming up in the super sport ranks or whatever that you think is like ready for Superbike prime time yet?
Not other than Matt Schultz.
Yeah,
I thought he rode really well this year.
Yeah,
I think he kept his cool most of the time, and he didn't get too frustrated. I'm sure it's coming off a Superbike and get on a super sport bike. It's almost like a demotion, I guess we would say. But I think PJ and him did a really good job, and but PJ's already been hired into Ray Hall team,
right?
And so they have him, Corey, and what's her name? Kayla, yeah. And then Matt. I don't know if Strack's going to keep him, or I'm sure they're talking right now. I'm sure they would like to keep him because obviously they want a championship.
Yeah.
And so he's got 2 Yamaha championships, one in Superstock and one in Supersport. So I'm pretty sure Schultz wants to go ride a Superbike. So, you never know.
Schultz has been saying, do you see the Strack team moving into Superbike?
Maybe at some point. I don't know. That's a question for Peter Strack.
Yeah.
But I think they'll stay in Supersport since they won a championship. If I want to back it up.
Okay.
Ray Hall people were supposed to move in Superbike as well, at least with 1 or 2 bikes, but they decided to stay in Supersport. So maybe they're playing the long game and waiting for Superbike to die off or something like that. Don't know.
You talked to Spees, one of our previous shows, right?
Mid Ohio came up with that plan. I don't think he's talked to me since I mentioned it.
Oh,
he just nods at me.
Okay.
Maybe just busy.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm more about Superbike than Supersport, but if that's where we end up, that's where we end up. I don't think it's that interesting. I don't really like spec classes and spec series. I don't like spec anything. I don't even like spec tires. Right. I think the development should go where it goes. When we didn't have spec tires, I said this a bunch. The tires didn't cost us anything. I wish that Pirelli and Dunlop and Michelin would all join into MotoAmerica, all pay a third of the fee, whatever it takes to be that guy, and then we can have some real races. So that's what I would rather have. I don't like spec fuel. I wish Elf and all those guys were allowed in our paddock, but VP's done a better job this year, I think. Our engines have seemed to like it a little better, and the other guys, their engines seem to like it more. but we'll be able. We played pretty conservative this year because we had some issues last year, and so we played pretty conservative this year, but we can push a little harder next year without doubt.
So I got some comments. I got some comments coming in. I'm going to go with the last one right now. Richard Joel wants to know. Richard doesn't like Spec anything. Why not allow the Aprilia in?
Well, the 1200cc Aprilia or whatever it is.
Right.
What is that thing? 1100, 1200? It's big, right?
Yeah.
I think I'm not against it, but when you get such a big difference, you have to have something to make it somewhat fair.
Right.
I mean, I was actually for that Aprilia coming in a couple of years ago. Yeah, because I think it'd be good to have another manufacturer, but obviously they're not World Superbike. If World Superbike came up with a formula to let them into their series, I think that would be acceptable for our series as well. But obviously, I don't make the rules. I can just maybe encourage those guys about it. Yeah,
all
they
right.
said, hey, Aprilia can come in, but they have to have a hard limit of such and such.
Right.
Like 12,000 or something, or 13,000, 15 or 16 or whatever. Then I think that would be acceptable to me anyway. I wouldn't care. More the merrier.
Yeah, and Willie J, you know what, man? Like I just deleted this dude. He's just like trolling nonstop. He's like,
whatever.
Yeah. So I'm just like, whatever, dude. I don't want to sit there and read that guy's crap. Like, whatever,
yeah,
dude.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna get somebody.
Yeah, this you can go do that shit on a forum. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's oh look, Heron's in the comments. Look at that.
Okay.
Yeah, should show Heron the new shirt design.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. Nice job, dude. Nice win. You earned it. Okay, so let's see. Going back to the comments here.
I'm sure he's enjoying his championship.
Oh, dude,
as he should.
100%.
And it was a big deal for Ducati, without a doubt.
Dude, the first one in 30 years. And like I said before, man, like that Ferracci kit that it came out at Coda, that looked amazing. And it's like, dude, they should have raced that kit the whole year. But anyway, let's see here. A lot of comments about how other states, Oregon used to not let you pump gas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, another one of those weirdo states.
Yeah.
Nice mountains in Oregon.
Yeah. There's that Oregon racetrack too. That's supposedly.
I've never been there.
No,
yeah, that's
I haven't
either. EDR track.
EDR track.
Eric Dorn.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, like I know there's some club race stuff that happens at.
Yeah, there's a long straightaway there. Yeah.
I heard it's healthy there. I heard it's bumpy. I've heard a mixture of both.
Never been there.
And then some comments about what do you think about getting back to VIR?
I like that idea. We always did well there, and as a matter of fact, I remember Heron and Tony Ilias getting together over there, and they were actually kind of tough on Heron because Josh Hayes did the exact same move to Tony Ilias the previous year and didn't get fined, but then Heron does it, and we end up having to start dead last at the next event.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah, sometimes
there's always some kind of something.
Yeah, sometimes the series gets about, it's just one of those things. I remember Heron crashed at also at Infineon and took out Roger Hayden, and then they fined him and punished him there too. Yeah, and it was a normal crash, the kind that you're going in, you're behind someone, you turn in tight, who's the front takes up the guy next to you. Type crash was just racing. But yeah, there's been definitely some interesting stuff. But yeah, VIR, I remember that. And it's always been a good track for us. We've always had really good success there. So it'll be interesting to see how our bikes do when we go back. It'll definitely be a soft tire track, which I like.
What do you think about Sonoma? Because
they
repaved
Sonoma?
it. They repaved it. Supposedly. Yeah. Supposedly it's nice.
Yeah. Can you race it in the wet?
I don't know. Probably
that's
not.
That's always the question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember who was telling us. Somebody was asking us, "Are you guys going to race at Mid Ohio on the wet?" I'm like, "Yeah, because it seems
Yeah.
fairly safe now. Oh, those gravel traps in Mid Ohio. Holy crap, they eat your motorcycle.
Yeah.
As soon as a motorcycle
You gotta
touches
stay
it,
out of
it
those
starts
things, man. Stay
stumbling.
on the black stuff.
The gravel is gigantic. It's really made for cars.
Hmm.
It's like boulders. So it just eats your motorcycle. But anyway, yeah, you can't crash at Mid Ohio. Not in the first few turns where the gravel, or the last few turns where the gravel traps are. It's pretty
Yeah.
massive. But anyway, I thought Mid Ohio was pretty safe in the wet. I don't know if Sonoma's safe in the wet.
I don't either. I've heard good things about the new surface there and stuff. So
Well, you go by the tower. You're kind of accelerating through there. Not much room there between that right hander and the wall on the outside. So I don't know what
right.
they put there. Maybe put air fence there. The little carousel turn at the end is pretty low speed. You got plenty of room to crash there, but coming
Right.
back, on the other side of the drag strip there, it's kind of hairball in a few spots.
Yeah.
Turn 5, I think it's 5 or whatever they call it, 6. You got a little wheelie area there. Hayes went all the way to the air fence or hay bale there and got one of his major concussions over there on our bike, Superbike. That was 2006, I believe.
Right.
That Superbike. So it's been a dangerous place. If they repave it and they go faster, it could be more dangerous.
I mean, could it just be that the modern superbikes have just outgrown that place?
I think that common sense outgrew that place.
Common sense and racing motorbikes.
Because I don't know that modern superbikes, you can go a little faster in the corner now, but
Yeah.
back then you didn't have any traction control or wheelie
Right.
control and all those things. The tires were okay, but the chassis were kind of not so okay. And the horsepower was actually pretty big. I mean,
Yeah.
on our Suzukis, we used to make over 200 horsepower. So it isn't that far away from what we have now.
Right.
So yeah, big horsepower, bad chassis, and not so great tires, and no traction control, no wheelie control, and everything's by the throttle. So I think it was probably more dangerous then. I think people are getting smarter.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Bearded Jixer said he said Hayden said there is some talks of some possible support from Honda for next year, maybe for Superbike.
Hayden Gillum. Yeah, I mean they get something from those guys. I don't know what they get. But that'd be great,
Cody Krager says he'd love to see a Vance and Hines Honda team.
The Vance and Hines Honda team. I think Terry's pretty much, doing his bagger thing, and I think he's pushing for hooligans.
Well, he's got the Twins Cup too. I think he's got an SB.
He's got a hand. Yeah, he's been at the races a lot lately, So it's good to see him back in the road racing, without a doubt. But
yeah.
if there's some big money to be made, I'm sure he'll be in it.
Yeah. I mean,
that dude's got the life. I'm telling you.
Well, I know he's like really big in drag racing world, right? I mean, I guess.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's where he made his career, and I mean, the guy's got his own. He has a 10,000 square foot building in Huntington Beach, and that's his man cave.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how he rolls. Yeah, he's got a basketball court in there, and who knows what else. He invited me over. I'm like, I'm not playing him basketball. I mean, I can't even play basketball. I'm a retard when it comes to that.
Oh, dude. That's hilarious.
Yeah, that guy hurt the guy.
He's pretty amazing, though. I mean, the guy, I guess he's got a huge reputation in the drag racing world. I guess he does a lot of Busa stuff and like Harley stuff. And then,
he was a multi-time drag race champion. That's how he started.
Yeah.
Him and Byron Hines was the Vance and Hines name.
Yeah.
Byron was his mechanic, and he was a pro stock champion.
Wow.
I used to watch him when I was in high school, college age. I don't even know how old he is. He's got to be up there.
Dude, he's old.
Not as old as Faraci, but he's up there.
Yeah.
Faraci's another great. Yeah.
It'd be cool to see that guy back in the paddock with the Superbike, though. That Vance and Hines never messed around when it was Superbike time.
It's so disappointing. Some of the guys in our crew, for instance, they don't know any of these old time guys at all. It's just another name.
Yeah.
For them, like John Krasinski was in the paddock, and so I was chatting with him a bit. Man, that dude is intense.
Yeah.
He is really intense. And he was telling me about him and Kenny and Bud Ackland and how intense all three of those guys were and how it just worked when he was on Kenny's team with Bud Ackland.
Yeah.
You know, and just
That's
the
Chuck's
stories he
dad,
had.
right?
Yeah, Chuck's dad. Yeah. And the stories he had is just, and the guy is so intense. I mean, if the guy, I think he thinks he can hop on a bike and win right now. You know, that's how intense. That's the way a winner's mentality is. The guy still has a winning mentality, and Terry Vance is guaranteed the same way. He just does it with business instead on the racetrack. And you know, some guys have it, and some guys don't.
That's totally making sense right there.
Yeah.
Some guys have it, some guys don't.
Yeah, some guys run off the track and they flail their arms around and pout instead of getting back on and chasing it. You know, like JD Beach crashing at the road Atlanta.
Yep.
He just ran it in the wet, ran his motorcycle, hopped on. I can't remember where he finished, third or fourth. But I mean, after crashing, he was still able to salvage a good position. But that's the guy who wants it. You know, that's another guy. Did I mention him? He doesn't have a ride either.
Yeah. Right.
There's a lot of guys, there's a lot of musical chairs happening this next year.
What do you think of, or have you heard anything? There's a lot of rumors about Yamaha developing a V4.
Oh, you mean in MotoGP?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty common knowledge, I think.
Yeah.
They'll be out with that next year. Yeah.
So how long before that reaches the consumer level?
That's probably never.
Probably never. Oh man. And then
the thing with consumers are like the bike. I understand why they're doing the whole R, like a regurgitation or the reinventing the R series motorcycles, because the bikes are getting pretty expensive, right? So they have to go back and reevaluate their costs and see if they can make something that's a little bit more friendly to the pocketbook. And you know, Ducati and BMW, they all have their high-end motorcycles, but you know, Yamaha is the kind of builder that needs to sell a lot more volume than what those guys sell. Yeah, so I'm not the guy sitting in those meetings. I'm just kind of thinking out loud.
Yeah.
But I have no information to base that on whatsoever.
Okay. Beyond the pay grade.
Yeah. Yeah. So when it comes to V4, you know, weird one-off bike, you never know. Yeah, they might get a wild bug, and the economy's going good a few years from now, and you know, get some new leadership in Washington, maybe, and
maybe hint.
Gas prices go down, and people buy more motorcycles, so they have a lot more cash in their pocket. Who the hell knows?
And then I think we know the answer to this, but Cody Krager wants to know if Attack will be making parts for this thing that's being announced on October 9th.
Attack may already have some parts for that thing that's going to be
There you go. I kind of thought that was the answer, but there you go. You heard it there. And then Joel says, so we finally saw Ben, Matt, and Aaron together. What are your thoughts on that? And did anyone ask Matt about possible involvement with MotoAmerica?
Ben.
Yeah.
Ben who? Spees. Matt
Mladen, Aaron Yates.
Oh yeah, the Yoshkas. I didn't see those guys together. I know Ben has a hatred for Matt Mladen.
Well, supposedly they took a photo together.
It doesn't mean they can't take a picture together.
Right. Yeah.
I just know I've listened to Ben and podcast, and he absolutely has a deep down hatred for Matt Mladen. I didn't see Matt. That's too bad, because I would have liked to have seen him. I haven't seen him in a long time. Yeah, Matt was always good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, always. Yeah, but other people have problems with him. I never had problems with him.
Like the only interaction I had with Matt was when I was in my early 20s, and we went to that before the Willow Springs National, and you know, they had the big party at the Key Club. My buddy and I got there at about the same time, right when Mladen rolls up, and we went up to talk to him, and I can remember him kicking us to the curb like we were yesterday's trash, dude. And I was like, you know what? Fuck that guy. And I hated that dude after that for years. That dude was an intense guy, man. Like he was.
Yeah, remember I was telling you about certain guys have that intense competitive nature?
Yeah.
You know, same with Matt.
Yeah, he was definitely not the guy wanting to hang out and sign
Maybe
autographs.
because I was, Pridmore's crew chief or whatever, and Pridmore and him were buddies. I got along with Matt just fine. But Ben, not so much.
Yeah, and Krager also, this is a totally different subject, but like that Krager guy says, the only guys that are that are ready for Superbike are the ones that are former Superbike riders in Supersport. So
I'd say that's probably the case, unless you want to bring somebody up like Rockwell Landers.
Yeah,
because he's been doing good on whatever he hops on.
Yeah.
He's kind of like Bobby Fong in a way. Fong does good on whatever he hops on.
Yeah.
And so I think Fong needs a chance to do something because he's shown that he could lead the championship, and he's been consistent. I mean, he didn't have that many wins, but that team did really good this year. What do you have? He had 2 wins and 8 podiums.
Right.
And finished 3rd in the championship, 3 DNFs. So he had very few DNFs. I mean, Baz 1 win, 4 podiums, and 2 DNFs. So, he outrode Baz on what you could say is probably, good motorcycle. Those guys, ADR did a good job, but it's not a factory Ducati, let's say, straight off the truck. I mean, a private bike, those guys built themselves for the most part. We give them some assistance on electronics last year, and this year they kind of took the ball and ran with it. They did a really good job. They got 3rd in the championship.
Yeah, and there's some comments. There's some comments in here coming from. There's an HSBK ran in Aprilia a few years ago. When it was still in 999, and they did pretty well. I remember, right? Like, didn't.
Yeah. It's irony, right? Irony in racing. So when we did that was when Heron won his championship.
Right.
And they protested. Bobby, from HSBK, protested every part of that mean motorcycle.
No shit.
He wanted to see the valve. They wanted to protest the valve springs, the valves, the tappets, the rocker arms. They had a long ass list. And I went over to tech because I was helping those guys at the time. I was doing electronics.
Yeah.
I think we helped them with some engine development too. And so that kept Heron from getting his championship award on the podium that weekend.
Oh, dude.
Because they had to get through the teardown. And then at the end, they told Bobby, hey, is it going to be, it's like $500 per part. You're going to be like $4,000 to get all these things checked out. And here's the thing. MotoAmerica is not as switched on as you think when it comes to tech. They don't have any parts to go up against. So they say, okay, well, we're just going to look at the valve spring and the spring base because they thought that the spring base was getting shimmed. It got a little more RPM or whatever crap was they were talking about. So they went over to Yamaha. Yamaha's like, we don't even run those springs on Superbike. So we don't have anything for you to look at. They didn't have anything to check it against at the time. And it wasn't Teague at the time doing it. It was the other guy. Can't remember his name. Jason something or other. Jason. And so anyway, so they hem and haw and all this stuff. And then finally they come back. They're like, screw it. Here's your parts back. Here's your #1 trophy.
Yeah.
Adios. And so did this championship thing in the front of the truck with some pictures and stuff. I think I still might have some of those photos. Huh. So fast forward, here's Josh riding for Bobby.
Right.
So that's actually right there. Yeah, they're doing a good job.
Yeah, so there's some comments with Josh. He says thanks for all the support and help or whatever in his career. And I remember helping out that guy and buying some shirts and that kind of thing. And
things went a little sideways when he just couldn't get along with our Yamaha again.
Yeah.
That year, what was it? When Cam Bobier left, and then Cam Bobier left, 21. Yeah, and I pushed for Josh. I did, and he just could not get along with our bike when Jake was winning everything. He was like the second guy, and we couldn't make it work. So he kind of left with a bad taste in his mouth, and his career continued. So that was good.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it seems to be working out for him at the Ducati thing, and like I said, he rode really well this year. And he did ask what kind of shirt that I made. Was it one like the one we made for?
No,
it's not that, dude. It just says that podcast.
Yeah,
because
that part. That's it.
because he said that podcast on like I thought it was a little strange that was his first thought, coming to mind.
No.
The dude won the championship legit, and like he whooped ass, and he rode really well this year. And they stick a microphone in Josh's face, and he says, this goes out to that podcast, and of course I'm gonna be like, yeah, dude, that sounds like a t-shirt.
Hey, I'd like to think I'm a graceful loser.
Yeah. I mean, you can't.
Not so much for the riders. I'm sure Jake's hating it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good run, and it's Tom Halverson had a storied history too. I mean, that guy
35 years, I think, right? That was his last road race. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I'd love to have him on the show, dude. Like that would be great. I gotta wait till he's officially retired now. Like wait till he's officially retired.
Yeah, so we all went to dinner, had a little Tom Halverson roast, and we gave him we made him a billet trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, CNC the trophy for him has like 4 number 1 plaques in the shape of a number 1.
Yeah.
And the base it said number 1 team manager. So I was joking, you're the number 1 team manager, but you've been the only team manager. So
right.
It's pretty easy to be number 1 when you're the team of 1.
Yeah. You want to show that? Like if anybody wants to see what that looks like?
Yeah. Oh yeah, let me get a photo here. Let's have a look. All right, got one. So we had dinner and then awarded him his little trophy there, and let me see here, share screen. Yep. Share.
All right. Yep.
Good.
Going there now.
Share that. There you
All
go.
right. So let's zoom in on that bad boy.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Huh? Things all
Tom Halverson. That guy has the best stories, man. The best.
He's gonna be missed. So I roasted him a little bit. So that's our team there. I think we're missing Corn Dog. That's about it. There's Bobby, there's Cameron, and missing you. There's Marshall, the robot, and Walker not having a good time as usual. Everybody else is having fun.
Walker looks angry.
Yeah. There's Robbie. He'd already had a lot to drink.
Oh, okay.
There's 1S. We call him 1S because there's only one stripper in his hometown of North Dakota. I call him 1S. And there's Maurice. He always flies in, really good dude. And that's Ed. His real name is Eric Davis, but we call him
Special Ed.
Like Edie. And then there's Sarah, our photographer. And Andrea, she does all the press releases and all that. So there's Chavi there. So anyway, we're missing Corn Dog, and his daughter was there too. But it was a good time at the end. It wasn't a championship dinner like we've had for the last 4 years, but we had a good time nonetheless.
Yeah.
We gave Tom a good send off. So I had a couple of stories. I said, Tom has been like the super nice guy in the paddock, always very respectful and professional. I go, but he's no stranger to saying no. So I told a story back in 1994 or 5. We were in Vegas, and Paul Harrell was riding our YZF-Simply Superbike.
Yeah.
And so we had a kit gearbox in that thing, and the gearbox was super lightweight, and he shifted it funny or jumped a curb or something, and it broke the gear. So we went over to Paul and I went over to Tom and said, "Hey, you got a second gear?" He's like, "Nope, got nothing." So we didn't have any spares, so we were done for the day. So Paul's like, "Oh, screw it, let's go to Vegas. Let's go downtown." So we went downtown, and next thing you know, Paul handcuffed a stripper pole, and we were there for 4 hours. I couldn't get him off that stage. They were walking on his chest with heels and all kinds of stuff. And I joked after 4 hours, I'm a gynecologist. I'm just sitting there like an idiot.
So Eric wants to know, now that we didn't win this year, I wonder if we'll get that Olin shock back on the list.
Oh, no. They will not. We're still using a shock that was developed for the RSP the RSP shock that was developed for or how old is that thing? That thing had to have been from like 2000 something when
Really?
Olds developed it. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, and they're still regurgitating that shock. The one in World Superbike now is an RVP 50, I think, or something like that, and they won't let us use it. It's the same price. I don't know why. But the shock's not our issue. Not our issue. We just have to rebalance our bike. We need to have a couple of healthy riders that can ride the thing 10/10 in testing, so we can find the limits of the tires and all that. We need to spend a lot more time on hard tires. That's it.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
And then let's see here. Do you have the rule book for 2025 yet? This is Junkie Buds.
There's no change as far as I know. There might be some little stuff, but it's up on the website already, and I think AMA website.
Okay.
So, or MotoAmerica website. I don't know. T told me it was already been released, the tentative rules, and apparently there's no change for Superbike, which is good. I think they're going to keep it for 2 more years.
All right. And then you've been 10/10ths for however long. How what are you gonna do to take a break? Are you?
I guess we came in last night at 3 a.m. So here I am doing a stupid podcast with you.
I mean,
there's no break.
You got to get on and do that podcast, right?
And I'm working on my priority list.
Yeah, I see that.
As soon as I get my rider's block done, I'll be back on that priority list for our motorcycles.
No, but seriously, are you gonna take a week or 2 off and
you know what? There's an ICAMA show in Italy, so I might want to go do that in November.
Okay.
And I don't think we're going to test anything till December, first week of December.
Okay.
And so, but up until then, we have a lot of work to do. Honestly, I mean, there's no real breaks. There's got some engine development to do, so we're working on that. I'm going to try some new configurations to the engine. I mean, it's the same motorcycle that's been a little bit tweaked here and there for the last since 2015.
Right.
So I think we have quite a bit of work to do, and of course, a number of chassis things. We learned a lot this last race. So Chavi was a good amount of information, and he didn't. The change we made in the last race, I think, was just too big a step, and he didn't feel comfortable on it.
Right.
It was a step in the right direction. He kept asking for bigger changes because he wasn't comfortable with the way the rear grip was on entry, and that was what we're kind of struggling with, the rear grip on entry with that R8 rear tire. And everyone kind of struggles with that a little bit, but it seems like we were just either our guys were more freaked out about it or our bike was worse with it. So the mid corner to exit grip was fine. It was just the entry grip that doesn't get you pointed the right way. And so real tentative, both guys. And then we made a pretty decent step in warm up. And then he's like, you know what? This is the last race. Just go ahead and he's selling corn dogs. Make a gigantic step. The same directions. So he made a gigantic step, but I think it was too much. And so when he rolled out, it just didn't feel, probably didn't feel as familiar as he thought it should be. But Cameron was running a good pace, other than him pulling in after his lever thing, and going back out.
Yeah, because I was like, dude, did he smoke the clutch again? Like, I mean, the way he was acting.
No. Yeah, we had the one clutch thing. I don't know. He just got freaked out over that thing. I think that he got in there hot with Baz and Josh, and maybe didn't get his knuckle out of the way of the lever and just tapped it. Because you look at the data, and he was holding like 5.5 bar for a long time going into the corner.
Okay.
So it didn't look like on data that the lever came back really far either. So it's just because we can record all that stuff and see a lot of it. So we're scouring the data afterwards. Marshall and I are trying to understand what happened, because obviously you don't want to have a repeat, but we have the best calipers and the best master. It's all World Superbike spec stuff. We always use the Brembo fluid, and we always use the Z04 pads, and these pads are always fresh. So there was no reason for it to do what it did. Like I said, maybe something tapped his rotor. I don't know. The rotors, that usually doesn't happen unless you get a really big head shakes. And he said he didn't have any. So it spooked him. What was the girl that hit the wall over there? Her calipers fell off.
Oh, Carolyn.
Caroline Olsen, right?
Yeah.
So apparently, Cameron was teammates with her or on the same team when that happened.
Oh.
It was that guy,
Ben,
Storman,
yeah.
the
Okay.
mechanic. Yeah, nice
Mhm.
guy, but he made a mistake, and either
Right.
calipers or pads fell off, and she had no brakes. So I think that flashed to his head when he went into turn one, and he
Oh,
just
dude.
was freaked out. So he came in the pits. I don't blame him. I mean, it's 170 something miles an hour. Me, I would probably rode around with four fingers on the lever and no two finger with a knuckle behind it.
Right.
If it is coming back, then I would have room. But yeah, I mean, it could be, hey, you get a line leak or something crazy, but if you drag them and they're not coming back consistently, like all the way to the bar, then you know that the hydraulic fluid's stiff. But in the heat of the moment, riders get pretty wound up, and it's hard the logic goes out the window sometimes. It's
Well,
what
I mean,
happens.
that's what they do for a living. So yeah. Right.
Yeah, and it's easy for us to armchair quarterback thing because here we are sitting here not taking any risks. But when you're going nearly 175 miles an hour going into a corner, and you got to go down a second gear, and you're relying on the thing to stop, and something gets funky, you get a little scared.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I just not doing that for a living. Nope.
Yeah, yeah. But I wish you hadn't pulled in, but it's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it caps the season, right? Like it's that season.
Yeah, it was a cherry on top of this crappy season.
Yeah. And then
But
there's a couple
like
of
I always
races.
say, the beauty of racing is there's always another one.
Yeah.
You have one bad race, you can't focus on that. You just learn from what experiences you had, and then push on. Get
Right.
that priority list going and start banging away at it. And so
Yeah.
now I think I'll be hard at it in this winter without a doubt. We all will.
So Daytona 200 plans?
I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
More than likely, no, not more than likely. We will not field our own team. We may
Okay.
help another team that might be in the Yamaha fold.
Yeah, another comment, and they're coming in about
I
one
mean,
in yes.
we have a good relationship with the track guys, so I don't
Yeah.
doubt that if they decide to do it, that we'll help them out with an engine program or something like that, or
There you go.
some technology with their ECUs. Next year, all the super sport bikes, I do believe, have to be next gen, and they have to run the Medtronic ECUs, the harnesses. So I'm sure we'll have something to do with that. Maybe depends on how Strack decides to go. If he goes super sport racing, which it sounds like he will. And so if he does that and has rider or riders all squared away, whether it's Matt or whoever, I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll have a little bit. We'll be helping them a little bit.
Well, cool. Well, you know what, Richard? It's a little bit over an hour already. Like, I gotta request somebody wants to see some data stuff, but I mean, I know you traveled till whenever dark 30 in the
No, that's all
morning.
right. What data they want to see? They
They
want to
want
see
to
the
see
brake
like a
pressure thing.
little, yeah, they want to see a little comparison between Chavi and this KMP. Like who's faster through that 7-8-9 complex?
You know what I could show you? Let me have a look and see if I can find it here. So getting through those S's, and it's something that we haven't talked about the character of this particular racetrack, right? So
No.
whenever you get to New Jersey, they have those S's at the end. You're going left, right type thing.
Yeah.
You go left, right again, and drive on the straightaway. A lot of guys say, "Oh, the bike's hard to steer." Always, and a lot of that's rhythm. And I always say, "Hey, you gotta get your rhythm down before you come back in and say the bike's hard to steer," because you're not going to be able to fix it with just geometry. You have to know when to roll off, when to roll on. And so Peterson would use, let me see if I can give you some file traces. Okay.
Looking for some data here.
Yeah. So Peterson wouldn't chop, and neither would Jake. He would come through there and he would keep it like 80 to 50, back to 80 again, and then chop, and then go full throttle. So let me open that up for you and kind of see. And stop screen. So
Just waiting
share a
for you
different
to
screen
share
here.
the screen.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I wasn't prepared to do this, but okay. There you go.
All right.
You got it?
Yep.
All right, so let me just spread this out a little bit. Anyway, so you can see here, this is getting through those S's right there.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see Peterson does the rip and then back down and open again and then shut off and then accelerate on the straightaway. And so he was getting a pretty good run and never complained about the bike being lazy through there at all. So then you go to, let's say, Juarez. I got to pick one, maybe warm up. And let it open up. So you can see where he would go pinned. Give it a second. Doing little circles. The software is probably going to crash in any minute now. But so he would go pinned, off, pinned again, off, pinned again. So what that does is it's asking the bike to turn while you're full throttle. It makes it a lot harder to get through that section instead of just rolling off and on the gas. So that'd be kind of one thing I could show your listeners there. Oops. So anyway, so yeah, so that's kind of a little bit of something there. All right.
So a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one area at that particular track, New Jersey, where we're having, it's all about rhythm, that one little section, and you can spend a lot of time through that section trying to make the bike get through there easier, but the rider can do himself a lot of justice by just learning how to work the throttle in that section, the timing to get that front tire to turn.
Yeah, I remember the S section of Jersey. It's am I crazy to think that going through that right-hander into the left, turn 10, like if you get through turn 10 well, it'll line you up for the S's?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be able to get through that left-hander nicely, yeah. And then, yeah, if you screw up one section, you kind of have to play catch up through the rest of them.
Right.
But you're kind of accelerating through the whole thing, you know, and then you just slow down a little bit to go under that bridge and blast off right. And so, like I said, it just takes some timing. Once you get the timing down, the bike's pretty easy to get through there. It's like no issues.
Yeah.
And but guys, they'll be like, oh, hey, it doesn't get through there very good, and then the guys are turning into the bike into a stink bug or whatever, thinking they're doing themselves a favor, and they end up ruining the rest of the racetrack.
Right.
Yeah.
That track is, I mean, I saw Hayden Gillim make a pretty gnarly pass under the bridge right there, getting on the straightaway, and I was like, God damn, that is.
You mean, did you see the head shake that Hayden had?
Whew, yeah.
You know, hit that little seam right there in the water, and I think it's about threw him off. And he's got a strong grip, because most guys would have you know, it would have shook him loose.
Yeah. I mean, he when he did that on the last lap though to Uribe, man, I mean, even Uribe was like, whew, you know, on the cool out lap.
Yeah, that was gnarly. Yeah,
it was like whoa.
Yeah, so. Yeah, they had a good fight. That was fun to watch. I got to watch a little bit of it.
So David Cross says that he saw you on Saturday morning at the Jersey's paddock and wished you and the team best of luck for the weekend. And as you walked away, he was thinking that what you always say, luck has nothing to do with it.
No, it's all about preparation.
Yeah.
There's the luck is what you make it, and hope is just a 4-letter word. You know, there's no hoping. There's no luck. Hope,
country songs. You know,
no, none of that. It's all preparation. If you're prepared,
what do you do for the off season, man? Like, you know, there's a question that Bo L wants to know what the off season's like for a MotoAmerica team. I know you never stop, you know. So
for honestly, I mean, you can ask the same thing in the World Superbike guys, and you go, so maybe in the off season, blah blah blah. They're like, we have no off season, because as soon as they're done with the last race, they're already planning the next deal. So you just work the normal amount of hours or harder. and it all depends on, like I said, when you're racing, you race at the shop to get the racetrack, you race through the development, you race to go testing, you show up, and you hope that, again, that word hope, you try to get all your ducks in a row so you can show up and be ready to go. It's a little bit more difficult for us because we don't buy ready to go race bikes from Yamaha Europe.
Yeah.
And so we build our bikes here, so it takes a lot more effort than some of the other teams who might buy an Alpha bike or buy a Ducati Corsa or something, or get at least one. So it's a little bit easier for those guys. They just have to, sign the checks. For us, we develop the bikes and we build them all here, so it takes a lot more man hours. So there's no time to waste.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's well, now you got a new bike you got to deal with, so there's that.
Well, we'll build some new bikes from scratch, basically. But we'll have to go out and we'll have to run around with the wings and see how that affects the chassis, and just take a fresh approach to run around with these hard tires. But I think that 3 of the 5 tracks will probably go away as far as how hard they need to be.
Right.
So we'll be back into the soft stuff, which we've always done really well with the soft tires. Whenever we go to track with soft tires, and we do really well. So it's the hard tire ones, but we'll take that challenge and we'll meet it. We'll be ready to go.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right. So now let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
Thanks for your chat, dude. It's been fun. It's been fun.
Okay,
and now I guess you got to really get to work, right?
Not today.
Not today.
No.
Right on.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
Later.
See ya.